Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something pretty fascinating from the I Ching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Hexagram 63.
Oh.
Ji Ji,
Interesting.
often translated as after completion.
Hmm.
And we got some really intriguing excerpts from the I Ching itself.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm really looking forward to kind of unpacking this with you and see what wisdom we can get out of it for everybody.
Well, I think it's a really timely one.
Yeah.
Because this hexagram is all about, navigating that tricky terrain that comes after you've achieved something.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like you've hit a major milestone, you're riding high.
Yeah.
But then what?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So
what happens next?
what happens next,
Yeah. That's a great question.
It's like you reach the summit, you plant your flag.
Right.
And then you suddenly realize the hardest part is getting down safely.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So how does this Ji Ji hexagram help us navigate that?
Well, right off the bat, the structure itself gives us a really powerful visual metaphor.
Okay.
We have can the water trigram, above lie the fire trigram.
Okay, I'm visualizing this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Water and fire.
On the surface, they seem like they would clash.
They do.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally, like oil and water.
Right.
Cats
and dogs.
Classic combinations that just spell trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking there's a deeper meaning here.
Absolutely there is.
Yeah.
It's all about the interplay of seemingly opposite forces.
Oh, like that.
Water constantly flowing downwards, fire leaping upwards.
Yeah.
And yet they can coexist and even complement each other.
That's interesting.
It's a perfect representation of yin and yang.
Right.
And that inherent tension, that need for balance.
Yeah.
That's really at the core of understanding after completion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how that ties into maintaining success.
Yeah.
It's not just about reaching the peak.
Right.
It's about what comes next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the I Ching doesn't sugarcoat it.
Right.
While it does speak of great fortune, even going so far as to mention names on a golden list.
Oh, that's like...
Talk about achieving the dream, right?
Yeah.
But it throws in a pretty stark warning, too.
Okay.
It says, things change when they reach an extreme.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's like a record scratch moment.
It is, isn't it?
So are you saying that even when we're at the top of our game, there's this potential for things to go south?
Think of it as a fundamental principle of the universe.
Okay.
What the Chinese call wu ji bi fan.
Okay.
Which means things reverse at their peak.
Wow.
It's that cyclical nature of reality, the ebb and flow. You see it in everything, from the seasons to, our own lives.
Of course. Yeah.
And when we understand this, it helps us stay grounded even in moments of great accomplishment.
Yeah. This is resonating with me.
Yep.
Because I've definitely had those times where things are going amazingly well.
Right.
But there's always this nagging feeling like, okay, enjoy this while it lasts, because it can't stay this good forever.
And that's not being pessimistic. That's wisdom. It's that awareness that allows us to appreciate the good times without clinging too tightly and being prepared for the shifts that come.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we apply this to, like, achieving a big goal? Are you saying we shouldn't even celebrate because it might all come crashing down?
Not at all.
Okay.
Celebrate those victories? Absolutely.
Okay.
But also recognize that those are points in a journey, not the destination itself.
Right.
The I Ching reminds us that true success lies in maintaining that equilibrium.
Okay.
Even as circumstances change.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But the I Ching, it doesn't stop at these big picture concepts, right?
Right.
It gets super granular.
It does.
Down to specific scenarios and predictions.
Yeah.
What's that about?
That's what makes it so fascinating.
Oh.
It uses this language of symbols and metaphors that can apply to so many situations.
Oh, wow.
So each line of the hexagram offers a unique perspective on navigating this after completion.
So like little micro lessons.
Yes.
Within the bigger lesson.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into a few.
Okay.
What about line 1 where it says, initially fortunate, but in the end, chaotic? That sounds a little ominous.
It is a stark reminder
Okay.
that even with a good start, complacency can derail things.
Okay.
Remember that idea of vigilance?
Yeah.
This line emphasizes that success isn't a finish line.
Right.
It's the beginning of new challenges.
Oh, so we need to stay on our toes even when things are going well.
You got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, what about line 2? It talks about a woman losing her veil and then finding it again after 7 days.
Right.
What's the message there?
That's one of those beautifully symbolic passages. You can interpret it in many ways, but one interpretation is about the importance of patience.
Okay.
And trusting natural cycles.
Interesting.
Sometimes things are lost, Yeah. Opportunities disappear.
Yeah.
Motivation wanes.
It happens.
But it doesn't mean they're gone forever.
Right.
There's a rhythm to life.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just have to ride the wave.
That's a great way to look at setbacks.
Yeah.
Instead of panicking, we can trust that things might just work out.
Exactly.
Like, this too shall pass.
Right.
Okay, I'm curious about line 5 now.
Okay.
It mentions 2 kinds of sacrifices.
Yes.
One, lavish, one, simple.
Mm-hmm.
What's the deeper meaning behind that?
It raises a good question.
Okay.
About true success versus appearances.
Okay.
The lavish sacrifice could represent those showy displays of wealth or achievement.
Right, right.
Whereas the simple one symbolizes inner work.
Right.
Genuine dedication.
I see.
A less flashy but ultimately more meaningful approach.
It's like that age-old thing, being versus seeming. Right. So are you saying that true success lies in that inner work?
The I Ching invites us to consider that.
Okay.
To reflect on what truly matters to us.
Right.
Is it the accolades and the applause?
Right.
Or is it the quiet satisfaction of knowing we did our best? It's a powerful reminder to check our motivations.
Right.
Make sure we're not chasing empty accolades.
Okay. I am officially hooked on this reading between the lines thing.
Good.
But before we go too far, let's go back to that central image of water and fire.
Right.
That dynamic duo.
That delicate balance.
Yes, representing that balance we need.
Especially after achieving something.
Right.
Remember, too much fire and everything burns out of control.
Right.
Too much water and the flame is extinguished.
Okay, so how do we find that sweet spot, that perfect balance between pushing forward and knowing when to ease up?
That's where the real work comes in. That's where the wisdom is.
Yeah, it feels like we're talking about this constant dance.
It is a dance.
Almost. Like we need to be aware of which element needs more attention.
Exactly.
The fire or the water.
Yeah, and that's where the I Ching is so helpful.
Right.
It doesn't just tell us what to do.
Right.
It helps us understand what's going on.
Okay.
So we can make better choices.
So it's like a roadmap.
Yes.
But we get to choose our own path.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty empowering.
It is.
But how does this water and fire analogy actually play out in real life?
Oh, in so many ways.
Okay.
Think about work-life balance.
Okay, yeah.
It's classic.
It is a classic one.
If we're constantly burning the midnight oil.
Too much fire.
Way too much fire.
Yeah.
We risk burnout.
Right.
Neglecting our relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe our health.
Yeah, of course.
On the other hand.
Okay.
If we're too passive, too afraid to take risks.
Right.
Too much water. Then we might miss out on growth and fulfillment.
Yeah, that's such a struggle.
It is.
I know. I've definitely felt that pressure to always be on,
Right.
hustling and achieving.
All the time.
Yeah, but then I end up exhausted,
right.
resentful.
Right.
Where's the joy in that?
And that's the point.
Okay.
The I Ching reminds us success isn't just external achievements.
Right.
It's about that inner harmony.
Right.
That allows us to thrive in all areas.
I like that concept a lot.
Yeah.
Dynamic harmony.
Yeah.
That feels like a much more sustainable approach than just pushing myself to the limit.
It is, and it's not passive.
Right.
It takes effort.
Okay.
To figure out where we're out of balance.
Okay.
And then make changes.
So it's not about getting to perfect balance and staying there.
No, not at all.
Because that just seems impossible.
It is impossible. Life is always changing.
Right. Always throwing us curveballs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's more about being flexible.
Okay.
Adapting,
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes we need to stoke the fire, take action, go after our goals. Other times we need to rest.
Recharge.
Yeah. Replenish it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's about recognizing that our needs are going to change.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about responding to what's happening.
Yeah. Both internally and externally.
Yes. And the I Ching gives us those signs, those little nudges.
Okay.
To help us along the way.
I like that.
Yeah. It encourages us to pay attention to the patterns, learn from what happens,
right,
and keep refining our approach.
So it's like having this ancient wisdom.
Yes.
Whispering in our ear
I love that.
Hey, remember that balance thing?
Right.
You might want to check in with yourself.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not a whisper.
No.
Sometimes it's a shout.
Okay.
A real wake-up call.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, there's a line in this hexagram.
Okay.
The last one, actually.
Okay.
It says, his head immersed, The position is perilous.
Okay, that sounds a little scary.
Yeah, warning bells are going off.
Yeah, like what's it trying to tell us?
It's a reminder that even success can be a trap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if we're not careful.
How so?
Well, it suggests that becoming too immersed in our achievements can blind us
to what?
To potential pitfalls.
Okay.
Or opportunities for growth.
Wait, so success itself can be dangerous?
It's about perspective.
Okay.
Imagine diving into a pool.
Okay.
When you're underwater, you can't see what's happening above. You might bump into something, miss a signal, or just lose track of where you are. So it's like getting caught up in that moment, in our own bubble of success.
Yeah.
And we lose sight of everything else.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And that can happen in many ways.
Okay.
Maybe we get so focused on work that we neglect our health or relationships.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're clinging to an identity that doesn't serve us anymore, but we're afraid to let go.
Yeah, or maybe it's just not realizing that what worked before might not work now. Okay, so how do we avoid that?
Yeah.
How do we know when to come up for air and like reassess?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the I Ching doesn't give us a simple answer.
Of course not.
It just gives us this image to think about.
Okay, so no easy answers, just deep thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, I Ching challenge accepted.
Good.
But where do we even begin?
Awareness.
Okay.
We need to ask ourselves.
Okay.
What are we immersed in right now? What are we holding on to too tightly? Where have we become complacent or even blind?
That's a good starting point.
Okay.
You're pretty thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I can think of some habits and patterns that I'm clinging to, even though they might not be helping me anymore. Like, I'm afraid to let go.
That's very human.
Yeah.
We crave certainty. We fear the unknown.
True.
But the I Ching reminds us that real growth often means leaving our comfort zone.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's about being willing to let go, to embrace change, and trust that something better might be waiting.
I like that message a lot.
It's hopeful, isn't it?
It is.
So it's not about avoiding success.
Right.
It's about approaching it mindfully.
With awareness.
With awareness.
Yeah, a willingness to adapt.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that this isn't a finish line.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
Of growth.
A growth evolution, you know? And that's where we find the real meaning.
Of after completion.
Of what it means to live a good life.
You know, I'm starting to think of this whole after completion thing. Not as like a blissful arrival. But more like a balancing act.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're juggling all these different things. Our goals, relationships, well-being. And trying to keep them all up in the air.
That's a great way to put it.
Without dropping any.
It highlights how active we need to be in maintaining that harmony.
So it's not about reaching this mythical having it all.
No.
And then just coasting.
Not at all.
Because that sounds exhausting.
It does, and it's unrealistic.
Right.
The I Ching is about embracing those cycles, peaks and valleys, busy times, quiet times.
Yeah.
The key is riding those waves with intention.
Okay, that feels much more manageable.
Right.
So instead of striving for some perfect state, it's more about dancing with those ebbs and flows.
Exactly.
But is there ever a point where we can actually say, we've reached after completion?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And maybe the wisdom is in not giving a definite answer.
Oh, interesting.
It's more about the journey.
The journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about appreciating each stage.
Right.
Finding joy in the striving and the achieving.
And then recalibrating for what's next.
Yes.
I love that.
Maybe that's the real after completion.
Oh.
Not a fixed point, but a way of being.
Wow.
A way of approaching life.
With accomplishment, but also openness.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
Acknowledging what we've done.
Yeah.
Celebrating our wins. But also looking ahead with curiosity.
And being open to new challenges.
Yes. It's about that resilience.
Right.
Adapting to what life throws at us.
And remembering the I Ching is there to guide us.
Always.
This has been so insightful.
Glad you enjoyed it.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on success.
Good.
So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
My pleasure.
And to you, dear listener, we leave you with this.
Okay.
What might you be overlooking by being too immersed in your own successes?
Good question.
What would happen if you came up for air, took a look around,
took a breath,
and saw where the current might take you next?
I like it.
Until next time, happy diving.